Hello, my dear children. Today I will teach you Rabindra Tagore's poem, Leave This Chanting. Now, you all know that Rabindra Tagore was a great philosopher, a great nature lover, a great poet, a great artist, and a great dramatist also. He was born on 7th May 1861, and his father, Rabindra Tagore, was a member of the Brahmo Samaj. And of course, Rabindranath Tagore wrote most of his works in Bengali only, but they were later on translated in English. And being a lover of nature, he talked a lot about the presence of spirituality, the divinity that you find in his poems. And Gitanjali is that famous collection of songs that, of course, represent different facets of Tagore's poetry, and his poems include, in this connection, indicate the richness of the culture that produced such poetry. And let me tell you, Tagore's greatness lies in the fact that his poetry appealed not only to the elite classes, but also to the illiterate classes, because the elite classes were able to read poems, but of course, the illiterate people were able to get the message through the oral recitations of his songs. Now, this poem, I have a great love for this poem. Right from my childhood, I loved this poem. Why? Because it conveys a lot of message. Now, the very beginning of the poem says, "Leave this chanting, that singing and telling of beads. Whom dost thou worship in this lonely dark corner of a temple with doors all shut? Open thine eyes and see thy God is not before thee." So, what do we all do? हम क्या करते हैं? We stand in front of God, we stand in front of the idols of God. वो चाहे किसी भी तरह की मूर्तियां हों भगवान की, या किसी भी तरह की पुस्तकें हों, या मस्जिदें हों, कुछ भी हो, whatever form of worship that we choose, we stand before it and pray as if God is before us. But actually, God is not there in the idols, but God is within us. Because कहता है, He is there where the tiller is tilling the hard ground and where the path maker is breaking stones. मतलब God कहाँ है? God is there in the heart of the farmer, where he is doing his work, where he is tilling the ground, and where the path maker is breaking the stones in order to construct the roads. And he is with them in sun and in shower, and his garment is covered with dust. That is, he is there in the sun, in the shower, in sun and shower. That is all time. God's spiritual presence is everywhere, all time. And he's there in the sun and the shower. That is, those people, those common man, those common people who are toiling in the sun, जो दिन भर लेबर कर रहे हैं, धूप में खड़े हुए हैं, and they are all covered with mud, covered with dust. God is with them. God is not with that person who is doing sadhana and who is there in front of God and sitting asan laga ke for hours. He's not there. Put off thy holy mantle, and even like him, come down on the dusty soil. He says, all right, those who do that tapasya, that sadhana, they are probably getting God. But then you should come out and meet God in that dusty soil, in that with the common man. And then he says, deliverance? Where is this deliverance to be found? Our master himself has joyfully taken upon him the bonds of creation. He is bound with us all forever. That is deliverance. That is moksha, mukti. हमें कहाँ मिलनी है? Where are we going to get it? From where? Where will you find this? It's not that we are going to sit for hours and meditate in order to get that deliverance. But our master, that is God himself, has joyfully, he has taken this task upon him. He has taken the bonds of creation, and he has asked us that do your work, be with your work, be honest, be lively, be hardworking, be perseverance, show perseverance, and I am with you. So come out of the meditations and leave aside that flowers and incense. मतलब ये नहीं है कि फूल चढ़ा रहे हैं मंदिरों में और धूप दीप अगरबत्ती दिखा रहे हैं. ठीक है, that we do for the sake of satisfaction. All right, if you get pleasure, do it. It's not a denial of all those things. But he says, come out. Don't think that by doing all this only you are going to get deliverance. Because naturally, if you shun your work, if you shun your duties on the one hand and try to adopt these things in order to get closeness towards God or trying to be with God, that is not there. And what harm is there if thy clothes become tattered and stained? Meet him and stand by him in toil and in sweat of the day brow. And he says, what harm? Kya burai hai? He says that after toiling for the whole day, your clothes become tattered, torn, worn out, weathered, and you become haggard in your looks. Don't, don't feel shy. Don't shy away with it, because God is always there with you. He's standing by you, and He's there in your sweat, in your perspiration, in your work, in your labor. So, this spiritual attainment you get, this closeness with God you get in your work. So I hope you'll be able to understand this poem. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Well,